This part of the show is, of course, our Africa Day special, where we are going to be exploring and speaking about Africa Day and the events that we have across the continent to celebrate this rather, interesting and important day. We're going to have a conversation really today, to the African Union, a representative from the AU, who's going to be speaking to us about celebrating Africa Day with them. There will, of course, then be a Facebook which launches Made by Africa, Loved by the World. That is one of their programs that they have for Africa Day. One of the other things that we have on the show today is a platform that is created to assist African designers and artists to share their work with a global audience. That all today in the second half of Power Lunch SA. I, of course, and Khumuza Modise, I am your host for this part of Power Lunch SA. Joining us now, we're going to start with our African Union guest who's going to be speaking to us today about their Celebrating Africa Day initiative. Her name is Nontobeko Chabalala, and she joins me now. Nontobeko, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, Khumotso. How are you? Happy Africa Day.
Happy Africa Day. Thank you so much for coming on. We would like to start today, really. Just tell us what some of the initiatives that you have as the AU to celebrate Africa Day are.
That's a fantastic question, and I cannot even hope to give you an exhaustive list because commission-wide, a lot of activities are taking place. There's several conversations that are ongoing, and conversations is one of the ways we want to engage with our youth. There's webinars that are taking place being held by AUDA NEPAD, our Division of Culture Affairs within the Commission. And they are hosting a conversation around the theme of the year. As you know, that is arts, culture, heritage, and building how that can build levers for the Africa we want. So that's really just some of the stuff that's going on. There's also activities on digital media platforms that are really focused on knowledge sharing, just to show people what we know, or rather what the origins of Africa Day was. So that's just some of the things. I can't even hope to go through the entire list. It's a lot and it's exciting.
Right. If you go to the AU website, you will see that you have there something called the Continental Launch of the Entry into Force of the Charter for African Cultural Renaissance. Now, that charter, of course, calls for all African states to agree to promote and foster a mutual understanding among nations and resist any form of cultural exclusion. Is there anything particularly around that that's happening today?
So the conversation, actually, the webinar that's taking place with being hosted by our colleagues within the Culture Division is the launch of that charter. Now, the charter is obviously from 2006, but we continue to advocate for more member states to sign up to it and sign into it and make sure that our creative economies are able to be developed. So that is actually the key thing that is taking place around the entry into force of the charter. So it's really exciting. It's a high level conversation, but what we did make sure of as well is that there's a lot of youth inclusion as well. So if anyone logs onto that, you're going to see that there are young people on the panel as well, lending their voices to how we can advance our creative economy on the continent.
Right, and you speak about developing, African economies. That conversation really feeds into the theme that we have this year of the AFCFTA, really, where we see African countries, able to have control of their economies. How is this charter going to be promoting job creation, which is a real problem or challenge on the African continent?
Absolutely. So to answer that question, allow me to go back 2 years. In 2019, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat, launched an initiative called 1 Million by 2021. And that initiative looks to provide direct opportunities to young people in the areas of engagement, entrepreneurship, education, and employment. Now, we didn't thumbsuck these thematic areas. We came to them after vigorous consultations with our young people. And they said these are the key areas that they need opportunities in so that they can take advantage of everything else that we're doing at the policy level within the Commission. And the charter, what the charter then does is it allows us to continue operating or moving with this intentionality of shared values and promoting our African heritage. Although different, there are more things that unify us than things that separate us. So that's exactly what the charter is going to do. It's going to, and under the context of AFCFTA, it's going to allow for cross-border trade, inter-regional trade, intra-regional trade as well, and really, really allow for the legitimization of our arts, culture, and heritage space, preserving our heritage sites, and bring young people into that conversation as well.
Right, right. And you know, the conversation around young people is a very important one. I know that you are the representative at the AU Commission that leads the young people section. Just speak us through how these initiatives that you have are going to be encouraging young people on our continent to be a part of the African economy.
Absolutely. So how we engage our young people is through a youth engagement framework that we call MOCA. Now, this framework is constantly evolving, but the M in that stands for mobilization. We always want to mobilize our young people, be it online or offline, so that they can see themselves as agents for change. The O in that stands for orientation. We always want to focus on building the capacity of our young people. And we developed a toolbox actually last year in collaboration with the UNICEF office to the AU and ECA. And the toolbox has like an array of courses and modules from design thinking to systems thinking to results-based accountability to entrepreneurship. And we really want young people, we wanted to create a resource that young people can reach into and be able to walk out of that with something that can build their capacity. The C stands for conversations, and I've spoken quite a bit about conversations earlier on. We always want to have conversations with our young people. So that's webinars, that can be, physical conversation spaces as well. But with the restrictions brought about by COVID, a lot of that is having to be virtual as well. And we find that our young people continue to remain engaged because they do want to be part of the conversations. They do want their voices to be mainstreamed into discussions around development. And then the A is activation. We want our young people to do things with what we give them. And specifically to the partnerships and some of the activities we've got planned, we've actually got an exciting partnership with TikTok and TikTok Africa, and Trace TV that started. We launched it on the 10th of May, and it's going to run until the 31st of May. But that is really looking at how young people can use the digital media platforms to advocate for their own development, to be part of the conversations around development, to take part in the creative economy, because the more of them that are on those spaces speaking out about, and the campaign is titled I Am African. So we want to showcase, what do you love most about being African, from fashion to food to dance and so on. So that's really one of the key things. And that campaign is live actually on TikTok, and we are cross-promoting all of that content as well.
Right. Thank you so much, Nonto. That was really, really amazing. I mean, we could speak the whole day about the initiatives on our very colorful, and rich continent. That was, of course, Nontobeko Chabalala. She's the communications lead for women and gender and youth. That directorate at the African Union, headquarters. I am joined by my colleague Arnold Kwizera. But before that, I'd like to explain really quickly what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Sotho attire here in South Africa. Of course, the Sotho people here, mountainous part of our country, really cold in that part of our country, and that's why they've got this rather heavy attire, as part of their official attire. Mudise ya watau honojale mona South Africa. Arnold, do you know your clan names as I've just given you mine?
Look, I'm a mix of everything. I have like three clan names from down there, SA to to Rwanda, my other home country, to Uganda. So it's still confused. I don't know where home is. But talking about attires, this is a house of tile. He's a designer here in Rwanda, and he draws his inspiration from the Kitenji, which originates from Western Africa, but is quite popular in East Africa as well.
Thank you so much for that. Take it away. You have Facebook for us, who's going to be telling us about their designer initiative.
Thank you very much, Mo. There for very interesting interview. We've seen a lot of conversation regarding the youth there and what's in it for the youth. Now, something that may also interest the youth as well is regarding content creation and how to tap into Facebook's new, one could want to assume, new business model. Now, Facebook has launched the Made by Africa, Loved by the World series that is set to make its debut on the Facebook platform. And for that, we are joined by Jocelyn Muhutu-Remy, who's the head of strategic partnerships for Sub-Saharan Africa for Facebook. Thank you for making the time, and thank you for joining us, Jocelyn.
Hello, thank you. Happy Africa Day.
Happy Africa Day to you too. Quickly, I want you to tap into why it's important for Facebook in using its platform to celebrate Africa Day.
Well, we've just heard from the representative of the African Union on your platform. And as you know, this is the year of the youth and arts and heritage for the organization. And we wanted to be part of that celebration and bring forward Africa's creativity. So the point of this campaign is really to contribute to the change of narrative around our continent by demonstrating and showcasing and putting forward some of our most interesting, most creative individuals, content creators, businesses, fashion designers, musicians, etc., who are made by Africa, made in Africa, and loved by the world. This is one big initiative for us that we feel will really help contribute to this change of narrative, and also to showcase our creativity and the power of African initiative.
Just what do you think? What kind of impact will this have for creatives that are participating, content creators on the continent?
Well, you see, we're hoping that by showcasing these individuals, we will inspire even more people, and also help them understand how to harness the power of our platforms. As you know, millions of small businesses and content creators are using our platforms to find a voice, find an audience, and sustain their livelihoods. And with this campaign, where we showcase people like, for example, the creator, the content creator, the comedian, Mark Angel from Nigeria. This is an individual who has 15 million followers. He and his family have built a very, very sustainable business and livelihood through their creativity, through sketches and jokes that are loved way beyond Nigeria, way beyond Africa, with audiences as far as Vietnam. We also feature people like the Ivorian La Falaise Dion. This is a lady who makes incredible jewelry, and she was discovered on Instagram by Beyonce's team. And we have other people and groups like the Kenyans, Sauti Sol. You know them, I'm sure. These are amazing East African, Pan-African artists who, in addition to developing audiences through concerts, etc., have really expressed their talent on our platforms. So really the objective here is to elevate, to highlight, to demonstrate the power of African creativity.
Jocelyn, what's in it for Facebook? Does this give us a glimpse of what Facebook's business model may be in the near future, being that the likes of Netflix are getting into the content creation on the continent?
We've always been a content platform. Actually, we're primarily a content platform. Essentially, what users are doing is expressing themselves on our platforms. And indeed, we are becoming a very strong powerhouse when it comes to video content creation. Sorry, you may be aware of the Facebook Watch tab on Facebook, where you can watch, hundreds of thousands of videos, and African creators are really harnessing that power. We have made available in some African countries what is called in-stream advertising, monetization via in-stream advertising. And we are seeing African creators make very, very good livelihoods through this mechanism. So this is not new. What I mean to say is that Facebook being a platform for content creation is not new at all. What is relatively new, only in the past couple of years, is this possibility of not just gathering an audience, having a platform for people to express themselves, but you can also make a living, a very sustainable living via in-stream advertising, for example. So really, we are very excited that we are bringing that kind of value, of very concrete value, to content creators. But also, this campaign is also about small businesses, fashion designers, food producers. All sorts of people are finding clients through our platforms. You may be aware that we have tools like Marketplace, where you can sell all sorts of things from the comfort of your living room. You can create a digital shop, personalize it, and do this on Facebook and Instagram, whether you are a hairdresser or a fashion designer, etc. So really, this is a big, big focus for us. The focus on small businesses is really central to what Facebook is about. And this is one of the things that we're celebrating with this campaign.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Just stay on the line. My colleague Godfrey, before he gets into that interview with Sam Mensah, he has a question for you. But from me, Murakoze Mwebarenyo, have a great, happy Africa Day.
Murakoze chane.
Because Arnold, thank you very much indeed. I wanted to shock Jocelyn. I wonder if she recognizes me 20 years later. Absolutely incredible.
Yes, I do remember you very well, Godfrey.
For the benefit of our viewers, Jocelyn and I last interacted, I think it was when? 2002? No, not even 2002. It's going to be maybe 2000.
I can tell you 2010.
2010.
11 years ago.
11 years ago, there you go. Now, an old fogey, I have forgotten some of those very important names in our past. Great to reconnect with you. I wanted to ask you a question around for what Facebook is trying to do to help the small businesses that you are talking about. You know, one of our big challenges on the African continent, of course, has got to be connectivity. Is there any work at all that Facebook is doing on that front to try to help the small businesses across the continent?
Oh, absolutely. Connectivity is a massive focus for Facebook. You may be aware that last year we announced To Africa, which is a massive, massive investment from the company in Africa's connectivity via undersea cabling. We invested over $500 million on African connectivity, and we expect to see the fruits of that effort around 2023. So really, I can say, Godfrey, that we are at a tipping point around connectivity, and that is really a very big contribution from our company. But we're also helping businesses in many different, in other ways. Last year, as you know, with COVID, things were very, very difficult for small businesses, and we gave over half a $500,000 worth of grants to businesses across the continent. Over 900 businesses benefited from that. We also did this in the media space, where we provided grants to smaller media companies, especially here in South Africa, $390,000 worth of assistance. In addition to that, we really focus on education, on digital education. For small businesses, we train thousands of people every year via free training modules. And we do this for content creators as well. As you heard just now, content creation is becoming a very sustainable form of business. So you don't just need to sell actual products, you can also sell your talent.
Absolutely, and great to reconnect with you again, Jocelyn. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on our conversation on Africa Day, where we're talking about ways in which we can try to help African businesses. I go back to the Motswana. Is it the Motswana? Did I get that correct?
Motswana. Tswana Institute attire, Godfrey. Don't ask me what it means. Of course, that conversation with Jocelyn, a very interesting one, a very relevant one, as we have small businesses all over the continent trying to move beyond those borders and those boundaries. Joining us now is Sam Mensah. He actually is with a company called Ananse Africa. And they claim to be helping businesses across Africa to move beyond this lovely continent. Sam, just tell us more about what exactly you are doing, in helping businesses in Africa.
Thank you. Great to be here, and thanks for the invitation. So what we do at Ananse is that we work with creatives, fashion designers, artists, artisans across the African continent. To really help them leverage the power of digital technology and take their products to the world. We support them through the ananse.com platform with access not only to training, but also through the e-commerce process, where they can get onto an e-commerce platform and be able to sell their products to the world. We assist them with a lot of the issues that small businesses face when trying to conduct international trade. Things like payments and foreign exchange, logistics, managing of customs. So the platform supports these creative entrepreneurs through this entire process. So for a customer, you have the benefits of knowing that you are dealing with an organization that effectively guarantees and underwrites your transaction with a creative merchant. And as for the merchant, you have the peace of mind that you've got professional support throughout the entire process of delivery to the customer. And we've partnered with, big brands to deliver the solution.
Yeah, Sam, very quickly, unfortunately, we've run out of time. I wanted to know how this works. So say someone is listening to you right now and they would like to be on this platform. How do they go about it? And very quickly, how are you targeting women entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so there's two things in terms of target. There's two groups of people that we're targeting. We work very closely with women entrepreneurs, but also with young people. As you know, the vast majority of creatives on the African continent, especially in design and fashion, are women. So we run training courses specifically helping women learn how to use e-commerce and e-commerce platforms and upgrade their digital skills. Then you also have youth. We work very closely with young people, young designers, young artists from across the African continent to help them sell their products across the world. In terms of how you sign up, you go to ananse.com and there's a Sell With Us button. You click on that and you register to be on the platform.
Thank you so much for being with us, Sam. That was, of course, Sam Mensah. He's the CEO of Ananse Africa.